Are you ready to step up into yourself? Are you ready to step into the game, the new Earth game, your own creation game? Do you want that? And that does mean claiming everything that you have had in all these lifetimes, you've all these remembrances, all these parts and pieces of yourself. Are you ready to bring all those fragments back and work together so that we can move forward? Hey, Jen, how you doing?
I'm good. Good morning, my sweet friend. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm not usually up this early, I'll have to be honest with you.
Well, it's
I'm like,
8
it's
I know
8,
it's 8 a.m. on the
8
8th
a.m.
of Lionsgate. So,
Yeah, Lionsgate. I'm excited for today. I'm excited for talking about this, being real about it. How are you feeling about Lionsgate?
well, I like the Lionsgate. I think it's interesting. I think a lot of people talk about what is the Lionsgate, right? Like, what's the energy here? What's the energy here? But I kind of want to know, like, why is there a Lionsgate and how does it get created? I want to know the how and the why behind the Lionsgate. Okay, let's just cut the crap. I don't want to know about what the energy is because I think the energy is going to be different to different people. I
Oh,
want to
totally.
know how does it get created and why?
How does it get created? Because we decided that it was going to be a portal for something, right? Humanity did. Does
Cool.
that, I mean, yeah, I mean, cool, cool. If we look at the astrological piece of it, it's when, the sun is in Leo and the sign is a lion, right? So that's a perceived aspect of it. And then astrologically too, Sirius is in conjunct with Orion and over Egypt. So that's supposedly meant to mean that the Nile River was overflowing at that time, so it's meant to be abundance. How did we get to that point, Jen?
I don't know, but when I think about, I agree with you, okay, right? Like from an astrological perspective, this is how we get Lionsgate, right? Like the sun is in the sign of Leo,
Yes.
and Leo in the tarot is the
Ah,
strength card. So, I
yep.
got to bring tarot into it because I find that there's so much compatibility between all of them.
Right.
So, when I look at it, I think about like, okay, I think about life as this sort of mosaic. And I think on one side of the mosaic are all the stars and the moon and the sun. And
Yep.
on the other side of this mosaic are all of us with our individuated experiences.
Exactly.
And we're shining light from our inner star, right? From our heart, our light. And we're also getting these light codes somehow, which I'd love to dive into and understand what that's all about as well from the sun, right? And they're like somehow coming together and creating this mosaic, right? It's the way that I see it. This
Yep.
mosaic to me is like a kid's kaleidoscope. So, like that tube that had like the crystals in it, and you kind of like turn it to see
Yep.
different shapes and colors, kind of like your background, right? Like that's a
Yeah.
perfect
Yep. Yep.
example of the mosaic. Like you've got Lionsgate directly behind you every day.
All the
Some
time.
form of mosaic, right? It doesn't have to
Yep.
be
Yep.
necessarily Lionsgate. It's every
Right.
day when the sun and the moon and the stars are in a slightly different position, it creates this next sort of combination, almost like a Rubik's Cube. Like it
Yep. Yep.
unlocks something within that pattern, and there's some sort of sacred geometry that gets created out of it. And
Right.
that sacred geometry, I think, is what's super duper fascinating because that's what creates that individuated, I guess, energetic expression. That's why when you like search the web, everyone's got a different explanation for what the Lionsgate portal energy is to them. And
Right.
it makes total sense because, okay, we've got a fixed position in the star and the
Yep.
sky,
Yep.
but our individuated experiences might be slightly different. So that mosaic is going to create a slightly different expression of energy.
Exactly.
And that's what I think is really fascinating. And I want to be able to understand that more. Maybe it's the architect in me that really wants to understand, like the how. But I feel like it's something that's super critical to understanding the kind of energy that gets expressed.
Of course.
And if we want to understand why the energy changes and why it's different, there's like a mechanics, there's like a physical architectural expression
Right.
through
Right.
sacred geometry that helps us understand and interpret the energy that's coming into our individuated experiences.
Right.
And I also find the Leo card is really fascinating because, or the strength card that represents Leo, because this is not getting your way through force. This is the Temperance card, who is all about patience and and kindness, and she is with this lion taming the beast. The lion's tail is between his legs. He's not getting power through force. He's getting like an expression through kindness and through almost like not a passivity, but it's like a cooperation. There's a
Yes.
kindness
There it
here.
is.
It's almost like force is through the negative expression if the lion were to turn on the temperist.
Absolutely. And they're
So,
walking together, if you notice that, like they're walking side by side
right,
because
right.
they want to. It feels like a choice, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, the lion would be, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here and I'm gonna eat you probably, right? So I feel
Uh-oh.
like the card is a really, really beautiful concept on how are we walking alongside this lion's gate, right? Because it's all about perspective. We all have our own perspective here. We're all a tiny
Right.
fractal of the whole picture, and we're all perceiving this differently. But on the whole, each of us who's perceiving this a little bit differently is co-aligned to something, and we're all working this together, which gives it a collective magnitude.
Yes, yes. And that's where I think this mosaic kind of comes into place, because it is a common sort of a common expression coming through for the collective, and every individual is going to interpret that a little bit differently. And
Right.
so I'd almost like to understand, like, what is it that's coming through this mosaic? And that is like light codes from the sun that are hitting the earth at the particular sacred geometry combination that can only be expressed through today,
Right.
right?
Right.
it's
And that's
it's
because
shining the light through that combination.
right, of course. And here's the thing with that is it's always shining a light. It's that we're perceiving that this day is going to have magnitude, right? This day
Yeah,
means something.
right.
So, and I'm looking at the sun right now and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And it's not really any different. It's always all those codes are already in it. It's an infinite universe, right? It's just because we've put this perspective on Alliance Gate of what that's like, and then all of us have been like, "Ooh, okay, well, I'm gonna tap into that, whether that's a portal, which is just a gateway for light codes if you want to perceive it that way." And now, what do we want to do with that? And so, anytime I come across that, and the energy is different to me because we have the collective looking towards the lion gate.
So there's a lot of emphasis on it. And when we
Right.
have a lot of emphasis and we're focused in a single point in space and time, there's going to
Exactly.
be a lot of energy in that very small pinpoint.
Exactly, in that observational field. And that's what allows for change to happen. If there's more of us, if we're looking at this as atoms per se, right? And we're on the same vibrational level and more atoms, and say each one of our human beings is one atom. If we do that in a collective, more and more of those atoms are gonna look to this Lions Gate, and there's gonna be a greater shift because there's more of us with more magnitude.
Yeah. So when we talk about a portal, to me, a portal is like something you step into, like a doorway, right?
Like an actual gate.
Like a gate,
Yep.
exactly. And a gate has a front and a back. So if we're
Yep.
facing the front, what the hell's on the other side of it?
What do you want it to be?
Oh, dang. So it's really whatever our individuated kind of intentions are that we want to
Absolutely.
manifest.
That's what I say with this. And honestly, too, the portal doesn't have to end or close either. Like every single day or every single moment, I'm constantly walking this and going, hey, I'm gonna have my intention in this because I'm the creator of my story,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't have to be a portal. It can be if you want it to be. Okay, it can be magnified if you want it to be. What's on the other end of that? It's gonna be more me from my perspective, right? I'm gonna walk through this and I'm gonna ask that claim more of my power, my soul remembrance, and I step into myself even further because that's what I want. So heading into the next few days where this is supposed to be more energy, I want to remember more. I want to come into wholeness more. I want to have clarity on my pathway. Okay. And that's not any different than what I say every single day. I'll be honest with you. Like I wake up and say that. So with this magnitude, I am going to put that in there and the intention in there, and it will shift the way that it's supposed to. And it doesn't mean that it has to be the Lion's Gate to do that.
Yeah, because I think Lionsgate is really just a date for because it's also taking into consideration the numerology, right? Eight,
Right,
eight.
of course. Yep.
And, if that's just based on our current calendar today, right? Like, haven't we had different calendars? So that's why I was struggling to say, like, how is today so much more magical than any other day? Because it's just the particular numerology on the calendar, but the calendar has changed over time.
Sure
So
has.
it doesn't mean that today is some special cosmic day. I love what you say. Every day is a special cosmic day. It's just what we wish to express in that moment. So
Absolutely.
I'd love to take it back to when you just started this conversation about Egypt.
Yes. Let's go there.
So, I, you know, I feel like the pyramids, if you listen to folks like Robert Edward Grant and others that have gone into the pyramid and they can see on the walls of the king's chamber, it's all astrological symbols.
Right.
So
Yep.
there's something to this, trying to understand, I don't know, phases of Earth, phases of human expression, something based on astrological signs that they're trying to bring in through this pyramid complex, right?
Right.
So I would love to get your perspective and go a little deeper in that.
I mean, honestly, they're in there too. I mean, th those aspects are in the pyramids, and they were very mathematically on point to the direction of the stars, right?
Hmm.
And also, too, I kind of think of this as a big joke because if we're looking all the way back then and they didn't have any of the technology that we have now, like what would you follow for your day and night? Like what would you look to see that there was another year, right? Or how would you dial in on that time? So they're very,
Yeah.
very on point on like creating that dynamic with the stars and shifting into that way of being. I'd say as a storyline for us to actually live.
Yeah, because I guess like Stonehenge and other ancient stone structures was a big calendar. And maybe in the
Right,
center, they
right,
say that there's a portal, and maybe there's something to this calendar and portal kind of concept.
right, right.
That goes way beyond anything that we can conceive of right now. Like we think we've got
Yes.
technology because we've got, cell phones and we've got Wi-Fi and all this stuff. But I mean,
Oh,
their technology way surpassed anything that we can conceive of at the moment.
oh, totally. Yeah, they were working directly with source, right? Those were the messages that were coming through the human facet to actually evolve here. That was evolution, but also too the souls that are here now and moving in that space that were here then. They also brought the information from all these other places and planets that they remembered.
Yeah, see, that's cool stuff. And so it's like, it's almost as if, from a Lionsgate perspective, 8-8 today, it's a reminder of us to look to the past, to some of that ancient wisdom that we've
Right.
forgotten. And how can we tap into, sort of I'll call it divine memory. And, like that's something, that you and I have talked about in the
Yep.
past. How can we remember from that which is in the collective field that has already been thought on this earth at one
Right.
point in time, to be able to bring in that divine wisdom, to try and bring it back to this collective conscious?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, can we, and I say this in every facet, like I want to remember more of myself in these times and places. So
Yeah.
if you can hit Lionsgate to do that, that's a great, I mean, it's a great way to set your intention in that, right? Because it could be the portal to all those facets. And honestly, like the serious alignment was for remembering all of these aspects of ourselves. It was very multidimensional, right? And anytime I tap into it, that's what I see. I see the remembrance coming through. And that's what Egypt was used a lot for all the way back then when they did some of their deep work, some of their mystical stuff and their mystical schools. All of that was to align back up to your full soul remembrance and frequency.
Yeah, I still resonate with all those ancient Egypt mystery schools. Like I soak up that information so strongly. I just absolutely am really drawn to it. So I wonder if there's something, within my own divine memory that can tap into it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I remember lots of times and places in
You
that.
do?
Oh, totally.
Oh my gosh, tell me one.
I do remember doing a lot of work in around Egypt. There was many places that I went to, but definitely a lot of meditation chambers and understanding the quantum dynamics through that space. I do remember going into burial sites to play even place myself into chamber to shift out of my body to understand certain dynamics and come back into my body. So lots of things that were practiced at that time.
Yeah, and I think, and there's people that are still doing that today when they
Right.
spend the night in the King's Chamber in the pyramid, that they claim to have some mystical experience, that they
Sure.
tap into some energy as a stargate where they can connect to higher
Right.
consciousness and they come back changed.
Oh, totally. I say let's go. Let's go do it.
Oh, yes! Oh
That should be
my God! Oh, yes. Okay,
That's
we
gonna be one of
need
our
to make that
trips.
happen. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be sick. I'd be down for that. I'd see what's up going in there right now. Of course, I can tap into it right now and see what the information feels like, but it'd be fun to physically be there and just spend the night.
Yeah, so is there anything special that the pyramid wants to communicate today on this day?
Honestly, when I was tapping into this, and last night I was working through a lot of processes of alignment and memory because that's what I wanted to move through the space. I also wanted to move through the space today, sovereignty aspects,
Oh
just so
yeah,
I
let's
can
do
get
that.
free from systems, free from all of the things that have held them down from being a creator. But the biggest messages that I see coming through there, and I tune this up even more, is be prepared to get your power back. That's coming back. So moving through the space, call your power back. Yep, that's your strength, right? So and that was consistent. I tapped in the morning this morning, like, oh no, this is a callback of power.
Yeah. Oh, sorry if you hear some noise in the background. It is 8 a.m. and my okay, my little one says good morning and he's going back to bed.
Ew, sounds great.
So, okay, I need you to repeat exactly what you just said because I was slightly distracted.
No, you're fine. No, it's call your power back day.
Yeah.
Really, really, really call it. And not that it hasn't been there. It's just from my perspective and what I've been working with over the past few weeks was we have an alignment with Lemuria and Atlantis. All those parts and pieces of us from the fall that happened in both of those situations are lined up so that we can fully remember and get all that energy back.
Yeah, is it to kind of heal what happened with Atlantis with the fall, or is it to like are they calling into their future selves, which is now us receiving that phone call
Right.
to
Yep.
say, help heal that rift in time, or
It's been healing for a long time, and since we've shifted into this 5D arena and we're heading into new Earth vibrations, and we have been for a while, it's all of us claiming our power back that was lost at that time. Either that, if that was fear because it fell, if that was fear because of the power dynamic, the polarity that it created, all of that is coming back. I have to say, like the majority of my clients all had this point, or they're like, okay, there's something here. I'm like, let's resolve it because it's the Atlantean piece that's coming back home, right? All of our gifts that were there at that time, all of those are coming back into play.
wow, I wonder what kind of gifts we can pull from that time frame and bring into this expression of time and space now that we haven't already kind of conceived of. Is there something sort of unique, like a different combination that we haven't really talked about?
I feel like it's the combination that our souls have had. We just came here and wanted to work through that piece. And I would say that the remembrance piece was something that we also put on ourselves so that we could kind of come back to that and work through this particular aspect.
So
Right.
that remembrance to me makes me think of like our divine memories
Yeah,
of remembering who we are connected to source, remembering past lifetimes,
yeah,
and kind of thinning that veil between, our reality that we think that this is really all that there is versus seeing that we're just a tiny piece of a much larger picture and
right.
being able to see our place in that big cosmic view. I
Yeah.
would love to see that.
Call it in, girl. Get it.
I'm calling it in right now. Lionsgate, please open that gate and bring that. Yeah, no, that's definitely what I'm trying to call in is all of those past memories from those mystery schools and from an architect's perspective, how this
Right.
universe is orchestrated and like constructed so that way we can interpret the energies that we're perceiving because we're so focused on the energy itself. But I love
Right.
the construct of how the energy is actually even expressed.
Oh, absolutely. How does it get expressed? What does that look like? Of course, we all have our different expressions to it, and it's going to have different expressions itself because, again, we're an infinite universe. So
Mhm.
there's an infinite amount of parallels that all of us are working right now in the same space with this particular Lionsgate. Each one of those parallels is going to have a tiny, slightly different uh, perspective to it.
Yeah, that's what I call that mosaic, or like a Rubik's cube. When you shift the Rubik's cube one click over and one click to the right, now you have sort of a different pattern, and that different pattern has a different energy signature. And like that's why I think it's so interesting where people track the time and day that you're born to try and understand like what's your life path? Who are you going to be when you grow up? What are the different challenges in life? It's like that Rubik's cube kind of locks that patterning into your experience. Like that's your Rubik's cube for life that you bring in based on that time and day.
I always like take a laugh and I'm like, man, I hate that shit. If I was put into a box where it was like, hey, this is what your life path was gonna be based off someone else's astrology, me and my energy would be like, no, I'm creating this moment. But each one of those fractals is something that I'm putting into my experience because I want to create it.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Well,
So,
yeah, I think that there's absolutely free will to be able to create it.
oh,
It's
totally.
just like a couple of different, like you're going to come in to be a healer. Like I don't think it needs to be like at 3 p.m. on Tuesday and you don't have choice in it. I think it's
Right, totally, totally.
you're coming
That's
in
my
as this
point.
person with this family history and these whatever. I don't know exactly
You're
what's in the
very
Rubik's
smart.
cube.
Yeah. It's whatever combination that you decided to come perceive.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, the exciting thing about this is also not and this is where this can get with the Lion's Gate too, is like this outward appearing manifestation, right? And this is the understanding that we're manifesting anytime we pull that inwards, right?
Hmm.
Not ascending, it's like descending into ourselves.
Descending into ourselves. I have to sit with that one because I'm so focused on ascending, of going up. Like to
Uh-huh.
come down. So it's almost like from our spiritual perspective, we have such a bigger, larger view to descend
Right.
into this human expression.
Exactly. That's why I'm turning the table on the paradigm here.
Yeah, well, that's why I love my conversations with you because you make me think about things differently.
Yeah, I'm a good time, and so are you. And I'm excited about it, right? The main thing that I'm saying with that and descending is we're so focused on ascending. I'm
Yep.
like, where are we going? I'm just like where I want to remember my soul. I'm going to go astrally to remember my soul. No, this is about our bodies embodying all of that multidimensionality. I
Yep.
don't have to go anywhere to see my all of my memories. Like they're right here. They're in my nervous system from all these places and spaces that I exist in currently. I remember that because I'm coming into myself, right? And the bodies are the ones that are ascending, really, essentially. If you think about it, the bodies are the ones that are housing our soul remembrance. And actually, we're going to be embodying the full aspects of our soul, the personality, how we interact, what that all looks like as a soul. Because our soul has been so many different places. Of course, it has its own unique personality, the way it likes to dance with the universe, its own fractalization, right?
Hmm.
My soul is very much so my unique expression, how I express through this body for many
Hmm.
different times and places. And it could be like, my little kiddo loves hats. I've always loved hats throughout time and space. It's one of those things that anytime I see myself in these parallels, I'm gonna have some sort of a funny hat on or a hat just to play with. Okay, that's something that I brought with me. If I'm interacting, and sometimes I wear like a superhero outfit because my energy, my little kid and my vibe and my soul energy likes that route. Okay. So it's embodying that full piece, the remembrance of my soul. My soul is interacting with my body 24/7 and I can hear it. It's about having that communication point and being in full partnership with that in the body. And they
Hmm.
are different consciousnesses, like because the basically this body is the spaceship, right? So it's going to inflect whatever the soul energy is coming into the space and what the soul wants to express in the space. And the body is also experiencing through its own personality, but now they're coming together in a way that I've never seen ever, especially in humanity.
So I do have to ask, what does your hat say? I see quantum, but what's behind it?
Quantum game changer.
Quantum game changer. That is so perfect for this conversation because it really is a quantum big conversation
It is,
and changing the paradigm on how we're looking at Lionsgate because
for
it,
sure.
it is a bigger thing than just the expression of the energy coming through.
Oh, so much bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
It's a real pop into why we're here, what this looks like, how this has been for us, why we decided to forget.
Yeah, because the joy of it is the remembering. That's the whole piece.
It
Like,
is.
get ourselves into situations where we can actually get a piece of the puzzle that actually sparks that creativity within ourselves, where we actually were able to pull it ourselves. Like, that divine memory is the game.
It is a game. And I would say that the majority of us have been afraid to really remember a lot of facets because that does mean that we've got to work through our emotions. That does mean that we've got to work through certain aspects of things, right? So, although, like, I've seen most of us be like, I'm ready for this remembrance, I want it to go, that means you're going to experience everything your soul's experienced, all those facets. And are you in the space, is your body in the space to understand that, to interpret it, to be like, okay, that's what happened. I'm gonna feel into that, dive into that because our spaceships here are emotional. That is how we work our alchemy. It's through our
Yeah.
emotions here.
Yeah.
So I would have to say, like, my processing last night, I was crying deep. I was on my,
Really?
yeah, I was in it super deep, and it was these facets that I had seen where I was so upset because of that Atlantean fall.
Yeah.
I was so sad about the whole thing. And I was there at the very end of that aspect of it to help the fall. And I was there right before it was heading into the fall to help support it so we could see if we could make a shift, right? For me, I was Lemurian at that time. And then that energy shifted over to Lemuria. Lemuria also fell because it was a whole entire dynamic.
Was it supposed to fall or it wasn't? Okay. So that was like an accident or something that.
It was made out of our own choices, really.
Right. Of leveraging technology and pushing it to its limits too far to the point that it actually like it was like this nuclear kind of eruption that just kind of destroyed the land
Right.
around it and probably the atmosphere and any ability to have life survive with the exception of a few people that continued
Right.
through.
That continued through that also then, came down here. Most of those souls did come down here to help us heal that facet. Earth was very, very beautiful and kind in supporting the process that we needed to go through so that we didn't run through it again. And to be honest with you, we actually have on the Earth many times. So she's like, okay, we're gonna do a restart.
Well, I can see that in like our own lives to have that breakdown in order to have that breakthrough where there could be good from it because if you're so fixated on a particular way, you can't evolve and change unless you break it apart so you can create something new out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Earth was our lovely little safe hub, and we came down here to work that piece. The slavery now is another hit with the Anunnaki. All of that is kind of got some massive overlaying and things like that to it. But essentially, what that did was allow us to work this forgetting piece. Then we were in it for a long time. A lot of it too was self-punishment, honestly, because it was a big, big explosion. It was very hurtful. A lot of the souls were very fragmented. It took us a long time to get things back into swing, and then we honestly went the same direction a billion times. We're like, okay, we're gonna create this tech. Look at this technology. I'm like, why are you looking outside of yourself? The technology is fantastic, but if we continue to focus on that technology and that's it, we're gonna work this thing all over again, and we did a bunch of times down here. Same with the genetic enhancements. All of that happened the same way. And so once that was like getting to that point, the Earth was like, okay, we're gonna go back to this point, then we're gonna do restart.
Yeah. And I can't help but think that the earth is a co-creator in all of this. Like if the earth
Absolutely.
is a sentient being herself, Mother
Yes.
Earth, Gaia, whatever name we wish to give it,
Yep.
if she's got her own emotions that she's trying to clear, I mean, what if she's doing a big purge release and that happens to happen at the exact same time as the people that
For
are on
sure.
Earth that happen to have this explosion? Like it is that inner and outer expression that created that massive explosion at the same time. So maybe part of that was her releasing her own upset and guilt.
Oh, absolutely. Because the thing is with Earth, and again, everybody, just so you know, this is my perspective. This is my remembrance. It's not yours. Not all of it's going to hit you guys. I always want to make that a point. From my experience, Earth and Atlantis were very close as consciousness. The consciousness buddies, friends. They loved each other very much. Okay. Now all these planets, all of these interfacings, they all have their own existence, their own consciousness, the way that they like to work, dance, ascend, okay, or descend, however you want to word that now. I'm laughing at myself. They're very close. They loved each other very much, and it was really hard for Earth to see how the dynamic of that shifted because Atlantis, the planet itself, the essence itself, of course, was co-creating with humans, right? It was
Wait,
all in
are you saying
conjunct,
that Atlantis was a different planet from Earth, or are you saying that it was a portion of like landmass on Earth?
totally different consciousness. Okay, the way that I see it, it wasn't Earth itself. It was a separate being, a separate entity, a separate.
Oh, I always thought, okay.
It was very close. The how the ecosystem was very close to Earth, but they were different.
Oh, interesting. I guess I've collapsed them to be one and the same, like a landmass on Earth.
Yeah, that's what a lot of us have done. That's the perspective that has been here. So I'm just going to give a different perspective on it. They were
Okay.
completely different when that exploded. Aspects of Atlantis came into the Earth plane because she wanted to work with that healing aspect of it. Okay, it did cause some destruction, some other phases of it too, and it was like it landed here. It landed on Earth.
Yeah. Like as if Earth was a co-creator with it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that I can get that. I can get behind that. Because there's so many memories of Atlantis from people on Earth.
There's a ton.
Yeah.
There's incongruence to what I've seen and experienced and heard. And we all have a pretty decent memory that it fell, right?
Mhm.
Something happened there. Okay. For me, in my experience, I did not incarnate on Atlantis over and over again. I was Lemurian, but I was on Atlantis a lot.
Hmm.
I was in conjunct with it. We had a lot of good times, and I appreciated it. And then there were some other aspects that happened. There were some Orion Wars, some other things that came into
Yeah,
play
I've heard of that. Yeah.
with the technology, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I remember all the lifetimes that I had running through that piece and going back and forth to Atlantis saying, how can we help this? Because you realize one point in this universe is going to shift everything because that's how the magnitude of the waves and the frequencies work. Okay. So if they're that much off balance with the power aspect, everything else is going to be off balance.
Wow. So kind of tying it back to Lionsgate, when it comes to that one point, we've got to be so intentional in terms of what we're putting into our consciousness so that way
Right.
we can help everybody move kind of in the same sort of positive
Right.
trajectory.
Right. With enough of us, K words, whew, with enough of us, I know I'm working all these different places. I'm like,
And it's early. We don't normally do calls this
my
early.
body's like, excuse me, what are we doing? Um,
I need more coffee.
I know. It's with enough of us having an intention to want to shift that to come into a heart-based space to work and co-creatively together to work the community in different ways. Like it's enough of us heading into that space with a conjunct type of unity, right?
That's that's so beautiful. So as we kind of close out this discussion, can you kind of give us something to focus on so we can kind of all kind of move towards that pinpoint together?
What I'm going to say here is, are you ready to step up into yourself? Are you ready to step into the game, the new Earth game, your own creation game? Do you want that? And that does mean claiming everything that you have had in all these lifetimes, you've all these remembrances, all these parts and pieces of yourself. Are you ready to bring all those fragments back and work together so that we can move forward?
Yeah, I love that. I'm definitely a willing participant in that. I'm
Me
looking
too.
forward to
Let's
moving
do
in that direction.
it.
I love that so much. Well, thank you for such a wonderful conversation today on this
Oh,
8/8 Lionsgate special day, but every day is special.
it
So,
is. Yeah, and everybody who's watching this, again, this is a different take on, or just a different perspective, and we are one perspective of a whole. So listen to yourself, feel it into yourself, see what's in alignment for you, and ask questions. like ask us questions because we'll be open. If you guys want to ask some questions, we could always do videos on. I'm down for it.
That's right. Yeah. So drop some questions in the comment section, and we look forward to expanding these conversations as we go forward.
And we appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you, Jen. Thank you so much for being on with me. I love
Of
you so much.
course, of course, of course. I love these conversations, and thank you so much for just being such an awesome friend and co-pilot in these discussions. This is just
Yeah.
extraordinary. I love being able to take it to the next level of thought.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds
All right,
great.
everybody. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone.